Do you ever feel tugged in 10 directions, wanting to serve deeply, create consistently, and still build a business that actually fits your life? Today, we're exploring how creativity can be a tool for healing and clarity, and how to turn that into a simple, sustainable offer stack you can run without burning out. Our guest is Marianne Gargour, a life coach with a creative approach and professional artist who helps people find well being and courage through art, mindfulness, and conversation. I'm Lyric, and this is Creatives on Camera, coming to you from the Academy for Virtual Teaching, where creatives work together to build amazing online teaching businesses. In this episode, you'll learn how Marianne grew a focused funnel, free masterclass to a live 4-week workshop with community support, and how you can adapt that same listen, refine, repeat into your own business model. Let's dive right in. Hello, Marianne. It is so good to see you, and I am so grateful that you're willing to come and talk to our people here on Creatives on Camera. Why don't you introduce yourself and what you do?
Thank you, Lyra, for having me. I'm Marianne. I'm a life coach with a creative approach and a professional art. And I help people find well-being, find inspiration, and find the courage to express themselves by using art, mindfulness, and conversation.
What is your favorite medium? What do you do?
My personal artwork is I work with primarily with oils, but over the past few years, I've fallen in love with gouache because
Hmm.
it's so easy for people to use. And now I love it because it's not smelly and it's light. As you get older, like when I was younger, my canvases were huge and this 5 foot by 5 foot canvases and all that.
Right.
And you just can tell the energy change. The medium changes for me, anyways.
Yeah, we do it. We can, right?
Yeah.
Um, and now you have online coaching, online courses, and we met at a conference and talked about this whole journey that you've taken, and it was so fascinating. And I would love to hear how you went from being a fine artist, which you still are, just painting for yourself, for your clients, to turning around and serving the community in a different way. What was that? What was the catalyst for
Yeah,
that journey?
that's a great question. And the story, I'll give it to you as in a summarized way. But my story begins in that I was teaching from my studio while painting and showing in galleries. And I was giving people my skill sets at a high level, but what I noticed is that my students perpetually were dissatisfied with their work. No matter how good their work looked, they were unhappy. And one day a student left my studio crying. And I said to myself, I need to work on giving the mindset, not just the skill sets to my students. And as life goes, my answer came disguised as cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself, in a hospital and in my treatments. And one day on the way to the hospital, a friend of mine said, we were talking about what causes cancer, and she says, a lot of people now science is proving that our suppression of our emotional well-being, limiting beliefs can contribute. The chronic stress can contribute to being ill. And
Mm-hmm.
that struck me like a lightning bolt that I had spent my whole life pushing, pushing, pushing to achieve, and to what end? So fast forward, and I'm in the hospital, and I'm noticing that I'm happy, even though I'm very ill. I'm noticing I'm inspired. And that's when I understood, that's when my definition of art and creativity started to broaden. Because what I realized in that moment is I was inspired by being around people. I was inspired to inspire the nurse who wasn't, appreciated by her family. Or I realized that I wanted to be with people 24/7, and that I was holding my creativity hostage in my studio. And I realized that creativity is connecting to myself and to others. And what really made me sad at that moment was that I love people. And I realized that I would not allow my love for people to be part of my life until I was done being practical and productive and making paintings and selling them.
Hmm.
So fast forward, I jumped out of chemo, jumped into becoming a life coach. And now I have married this union because I understand that art is good for self-expression, it's good for our physiology, and it's good for our psychology in the sense that it helps us reset, be productive, find solutions. So that is the beautiful intersection that I'm at. And it's because I got ill. We all know that healing does not mean going back to the way things are or back to the way things were.
Yeah, often growing into something new and different. And the idea that the act of creating can be healing to the soul instead of just, I'm communicating a message and putting it out there in the world, which we also do, but that it can be physically healing because your spirit and your soul heals as well. That's such an interesting thing that you do. How did this become a business? How did you grow from this idea of I want to serve, I want to be a life coach, and also I want to do it through art? How did the practical part of your business develop, and what does it look like now?
Also, I just want to add one idea is that
Sure.
it helps us at the physiological level in the chemicals in our brain. That
Mm-hmm.
that I think is what is the most amazing thing that people are discovering is that they move from the left brain critic mode into the right brain creator mode, which you know all about. What happened was, I think the favorite quote that I think helps me identify what happened is the Glennon Doyle quote that said, discontent is the sign that your imagination has not given up on you, right?
I love that.
Isn't that beautiful? That your imagination is knocking from the inside out, saying, please listen. So there I was becoming a life coach, trained, talking with people, but I was kind of putting my art aside. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I said, oh, my art wants to come in. And that's when I started bringing art as a modality to helping people um, find more joy, find more clarity, find their vision. So it was this internal sense, as we know as artists and as teachers, that it's this quiet voice that needs to be heard. And once again, I listened. And, I think of us as business women and men. I think about it as a process of painting. How I paint is how I run my business.
Hmm.
So when I was trying to figure out how to run my business, I said I was a little daunted by the idea. And someone said, well, how do you paint? I said, well, I have a general idea where I want a couple lines. Big idea, I want it to be a landscape with fields and I know how I want it to feel. And I make a couple marks and then I step back. And that's how I run my business. I get an idea, I implement some steps, and then I step back and say, is this working?
Yeah, how does it look and where does it want to go from here? Did you start out teaching in person, face to face with people?
Always. Most of my life was in person, in the studio, face
Hmm.
to face, one-on-one coaching. And I even still do that. I work in a hospital at UT Southwestern with cancer patients using art, mindfulness, and meditation.
Hmm.
Uh, but as you know, we all hit those sandwich generation years, and I have demands on me in other parts of my life. And it's kind of like what you and I understand is how can we create our business by design? How can we meet the needs of our life with our work versus making our life fit into our work? Right?
Right. And there's a there comes a point when your ability to be in person with people becomes you max it out. Either because the other parts of your life push out the time that you need from that, or you can't scale it any further.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I remember a day I was at the beach and I had a client on the phone and I was sitting on the porch of a beach house and I could hear the ocean talking on the phone. I said, this is a peak experience. This is what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to go and be everywhere, whether it's my parents that need me or travel to see my brother abroad, and continue to scale, grow, and impact more people. But also, life is short. I'm 56. Doesn't get longer. Let's live. I want to live and be able to help people and share what's happening. So also, I think it's really exciting. I think for most of us as business people, learning new skills and shifting into the technology and all of it, it keeps me young and curious.
I love that attitude. So many people look at the technology part of it and see that as a barrier and something overwhelming. And just like facing a blank canvas, right?
Yeah.
Just like the beginning of the ideation and the design process, it can be a place that you approach with curiosity and wonder because there's so much out there that makes it so easy to achieve
Yes.
what we want to do, which ultimately is to reach and serve more people in a way that fits both of our lives. So what does your business, how is it structured right
Mhm.
now? What do you deliver and what are the vehicles that
Sure.
you use to carry your message and coach your people?
Well, I love what you said. I just want to segue from that point is the idea that it is a bit overwhelming initially. You just have so many
Sure.
options, so many ways to where, when it's brick and mortar, there's not as many options, right? But when you become a digital CEO, the challenges are what direction do I take? And I love this idea that we've learned is the idea that we build one bridge at a time.
Hmm.
So the one bridge, and I've heard that, and it made an impact on me. Is the challenge as entrepreneurs, as creatives, is actually to keep our blinders up.
You're talking to the worst person for that because, yes, I want to see and do and experience all the things right now, right?
Not really. That has been a consistent thing that changed for me this year. I said I'm going to build one bridge, and the one bridge is my program is called Flip the Switch, Brighten Your Life with Art and Creativity. It's a webinar that leads into a 4-week workshop
Hmm.
that leads into a membership,
Okay.
right? And so my goal is I've created this workshop and I have a 2-day webinar and I offer that, and then from there people sign up and I offer the online workshop and we do art, mindfulness and meditation.
Is it a live? So are these all via live Zoom?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So I have the online webinar and then I offer it as a replay. And then from there, we meet every week and there's tentacles that go out. There's a Facebook group where people can keep interacting with prior students and current students.
Hmm.
But I think that my father's a brain surgeon and he's a smart businessman. And
Hmm.
he's always said to me, you know, um, don't do it alone. Don't do it alone.
Hmm.
And I kept doing it alone because that was how I was trained to be alone in a studio. And I think that's the second part that I think is most important is one, to not go everywhere. Like I am working until this thing takes off. And I keep listening to the thing that needs to change. What do they say in the chat? What is the feedback I'm getting? Oh, get back into all the emails and change them to offer what people really want. That's the
Hmm.
learning curve. It's like this loop. So I just had a webinar and a couple people, not as many people as I wanted, signed up. And I said, don't get all emotional here. Hundreds of people signed up to listen. So what did you say that they want? And I asked them, what do you want? What do you want?
Hmm.
And I saw the feedback. And so the work was to change my emails, to re-record, to change the message just enough to say, I heard you and I'm going to reflect what you want versus this one way tunnel where we just create these ideas and don't check in. So I think
Right.
that's so nimble. It's like I didn't print anything, it's all digital. There's a
Right.
fluidity.
Right. we we get caught up in kind of expert syndrome. Like, we know the solution to the problems,
Right.
we know how it works, we know what our students need, and then we forget to listen sometimes.
Yeah.
So in order for our students to know that we are the guide that they need to solve their problem, we need to understand how they're thinking and how they're feeling and what their desires are, like what they want. What
Yeah.
do they actually want? You know that it's what you have to offer, but the messaging that you use, they have to see themselves in that story. You're talking about emails that you send out to warm audiences or advertising that you send to cold audiences that bring people to that initial
Yes.
webinar.
Right.
Is it pre-recorded or is it a live Zoom
Live.
webinar? Okay, live Zoom, right. So, and your sales page and landing page, all of this messaging has to reflect the desires and the emotions and the pain and the desired solution of
Right.
your students, or they're just going to look at you as like, yeah, she knows a thing, but it doesn't apply to me.
Right. Right. And it takes listening to recognize people want XYZ, but they really want this, so I'm going to lead with this. I'm not going to give it all to them in the first 5 minutes. So it's shifting gears. Like the people I serve at the hospital, it starts with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with trauma and then I use the art. Whereas the world of the online, they want the art first, and underneath is the healing and the mindfulness and the deeper conversation. So, like recognizing, yeah, that's what they said, that's what they want. So, that's where the nimble behavior happens, where I have to say, okay, the second point is I have an assistant. And that's been a game changer in my life because I used to be the girl who did everything because I used to do web and I can, but I don't like it. And what I've realized is if I can get out of my way from doing the things I don't enjoy and really doing the things that only I can do, only I can write the copy or make the videos. But anybody can edit my videos, anybody can implement my copy. And so that's what's really started getting the ball rolling is having somebody who can hear me and say, hey, Karen, halt, stop all the emails. I'm re-recording all weekend. And I can hear her crying in the background, but I said to her, one day we're going to get that message. But for now, there's this back and forth. And that's changed everything for me as a business owner to not feel alone.
It's really interesting to think about hiring an assistant. People feel like it's a huge catch-22 because when you're just starting out with a business, you feel like you can't afford to hire somebody else. So you have to do it all your own. But one of the things I heard at one point was that you are doing things that are providing the huge part of the value, right? And are you an employee or are you that thing? An employee, are you an employee of your own business? Are you paying yourself minimum wage to do grunt work when somebody else could take all that off your hands and give you more time to do the high value things,
Right.
like the communication, I have tried in the past to pass off a lot of the writing and realize that that's probably not a great idea.
Yeah, it does voice, right? When
Right?
you know,
It does have to be
yeah,
our own.
I think the thing that helped me a lot was when I heard about, let's say you say to yourself, how much do you want to make a year? And you divide it by, I guess, 2,080 hours. And let's just say you come up with a number. Let's say I'm satisfied. Let's just say $100 an hour, just for the sake of this conversation. And what's really interesting is whenever I start to do jobs like fadoodle on a logo or do things that I'm paying much less to someone else elsewhere, I can feel it in my body. I feel guilty. I feel stressed. I can feel myself saying that is not your role. I no longer see my faces on every part of the org chart, but addressing how much are you planning on making for yourself
Hmm.
And how much are you paying this person to do? And are you doing that job versus doing the job that is your value? So it helped me a lot.
Right. So, are you being a real business person, and is your business worth the investment to
I
help it actually get off the ground? You can do it all yourself, but it's going to be a slower climb and a slower process. And it is a risk. It is a risk to hire somebody and put this out there. You have to let go of control of a few
most
things.
isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Having an assistant, how much it forces. I've grown the most because of having an assistant.
Hmm.
Oh, I need to meet once a week with her and have a list of things that are important.
Oh, business organization?
So,
Planning?
like, I mean, she does work on weekends at times because of the time difference, but it's hard to get your content ready and and I think also, I think about a painting. When I think about a painting, I don't want to be
Hmm.
democratic about how I paint. It's like a camera, right? There's one
Hmm.
focus, and then the rest is the depth of field, the fun.
Hmm.
And what is that one thing that needs to happen? And then let's be clear about that with my assistant. Like, what's our message? What's our goals? Having somebody else involved is good because we have to clarify versus I'm busy, so I must be running a business. So are we doing it right? Are we doing the 5% that makes the difference?
Oh,
So
that's such a simple and also often difficult question to ask yourself. It kind of can wake you up.
it really does. Yeah, it does. And then there's that part of you that says it's not just about showing up to the meeting. There's that duality in business. Like,
Hmm.
okay, I've got the technology, I'm ready, my webinar is starting, my content is ready. But then it's who am I? That Toni Morrison quote, it's not what you say, it's how you make them feel.
Hmm.
Does the person you're working with feel heard? Are you really present to this moment that you're sharing? And I find that duality so interesting to meditate before I start my work, to really ground down and say, why am I doing this? What is my goal? What's the vision? And stay true to that versus just getting into a perpetual fight or flight state of frenzy. Because I don't want to be a frenetic person, and I don't want other people to be frenetic because it's not good for our lives. And so it asks you to walk the walk, right?
Right. It's something we talk about in the Academy for Virtual Teaching all the time, being able to get ourselves out of our own way because we're here to serve our students. And I think we talk about that in the messaging and in the authentic connections that true marketing is instead of being salesy, right? But I love the idea, and I've started doing that. I need to remind other people to do it, to take a moment and meditate and really get in your heart and mind before you film, before you teach live, no matter what are you doing here? You are serving your people. So lose yourself and find that connection, that conduit between whatever it is that comes through you that can connect and help with your students.
Yeah. I mean, when you were speaking, the vision I got was like a wheel with the hub of a wheel and the spokes coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is our main mission? What's our message? And how grounded are we so we can be right there in the middle? And everything that we create, everything we share has that energy and that message to really help and to you know my goal is to be a very self-empowered woman. In this generation, we've been offered the opportunity to be at the table of business and commerce. And while I want to help and I want to serve, I also want to succeed.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And to succeed asks me to not only learn all these new skills, but to let go of some of the behaviors that we've been taught as women. To go.
Specifically what?
Mm, Just the idea of always putting other people first,
Mm-hmm.
always serving everyone else and leaving nothing for ourselves. That
Mm.
the concept of self-care is not selfish. That has changed my behavior to be able to present myself, to stand straight and say, I have something to share, even if I don't have 20 out of the 30 ideas on your resume. Like these habits as women that we've served the world. That's been our job. That's how we've survived. But now we're at the table and something has to go. Something we have to let go of something in order to step onto the platform of our power and our capacity to
Mm-hmm.
share with the world. So
So that's an interesting corollary to let yourself go as you serve your students. But in order to do that, you have to be powerful and centered and um, confident, trying to think of the right word, but just whole enough
yes,
in and of yourselves. I mean, yes, we let ourselves go to be a conduit to serve each other, to serve our students, but we have to be whole to begin with to be able to do that. And in order to be whole, we have to take care of ourselves, basically, is what you're saying.
that take care of ourselves. And also, I think the biggest idea that kind of changed the game for me is as we're stepping into the, couple things is we have a vision, right? One
Mm-hmm.
day I want to be on the TED Talk stage, let's just say. Well, there is like 10 steps before I get to the TED Talk stage, right? Breaking down our vision and our horizon lines into small steps so that we can not overstretch and be at loss, right? Getting out
Mm-hmm.
of our comfort zone is become this motto, but how much do we get out of our comfort zone? It's taking steps that are comfortable but stretching ourselves, right?
Yeah. Grow, which is often uncomfortable, but um, don't do it at the expense of, I mean, there's healthy growth, right?
Yeah.
And then there's cancerous growth,
Or
literally, that you've experienced, right?
swimming in a little bit of deeper water, but don't like go throw yourself out into the depths just too fast. People step over what they're feeling, what they're thinking, right? There's one
Hmm.
level. But the next level, I think that has really changed the game for me was maintaining a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
Hmm.
So, in the past, I would have a meeting with you and I think we're in flow. And then I would get into a puddle of shame. Oh, I talked too much. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I forgot to say that.
Hmm.
I would have dashed all my efforts into this pile of not good enough.
Right?
And now what I've learned to do is say, oh, so how did it go? Well, it went well. I showed up. I had a great talk with my friend Lyric. We learned, we shared. Okay, what would you have done differently? I would have maybe done, I would have maybe asked her more questions. Or so that gentleness with ourselves as we're growing and recognizing what we are doing well versus what we're always doing not well, couching it in that, I feel that's why at the end of the year, sort of tallying how much we've done helps us to assess, oh, I'm I'm doing what I meant to do, and I'm applauding myself and loving on myself and nurturing myself and listening to what I need to grow, but without making shame-based meaning.
Yeah, a constant process of analysis, and from that analysis, learning and growing instead of shrinking and going, oh, I'm not good enough. It's never going to be great, kind of thing. That's beautiful. So right now, you have is your webinar is free, right?
Correct.
And then you invite people from that webinar. People have experienced your soul, the things you have to offer. You've given them a taste of what it is they need, and you invite them into a paid 4-week program that
Yes.
is live Zoom.
Yes. So it starts out at the top level, which is Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm.
Create videos, and I follow those Facebook ads, and I
Okay.
look at which one is working. There might be three, and I look at which one is having the most success, and then I make it one. And
Mm-hmm.
then it offers the information for the live masterclass, which is 1 hour, where people sign up. I keep track of who's signing up, so they're my warm audience. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have a great conversation. And then I give them the opportunity to join right then and there, and they get a bonus if they do. And if they don't, I will make sure that we follow up with them.
Mm-hmm.
I follow up with people who attended but and signed up. I thank them, keep them happy. People who attended but didn't sign up, I give them more information and send them the replay. And people who signed up but didn't attend, and I try to reinvigorate their interest. And then from there, the workshop occurs, and it's 4 weeks where we talk like this, just like this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of one of you, there's many of you. And we have music, we have meditation, we have drawing, we have conversation.
Lovely. Lovely. And then after that limited time experience, because it's a full experience
Is
as well as a learning process and a course, then you invite people to stay with you on an ongoing basis with a membership. How does your membership work? How is it structured? Where do you offer it? What platform do you use?
Well, is the membership just joining the Facebook group called the Inspired Club.
Mm-hmm.
So after they do the workshop, they're part of this group where I keep feeding ideas and prompts. The
Mm-hmm.
membership is my vision. So I'm making it sound like it's already here, but it is because it's already in my head. The goal would be to have a very low entry point where they pay a certain sum, and every month we have a different topic and we have a recording where the conversation goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other vision that I have is to have a VIP offer for those people who would like to either take coaching or art and coaching to another level at a
Mm-hmm.
privatized way with me. So uh, you see how it's starting here, and
Right.
I let the
And growing a little bit at a time.
yeah. I don't want to be stressed out. I don't enjoy being stressed out. I think the best work too, I've realized, right?
Right. Okay. And so far, you have webinar via Zoom. You have your program via Zoom. You have the 4 week program course Facebook group, and then planning on building at some point a membership. So you don't actually have to have a big online course platform because you're just using Zoom and Facebook
Um,
right now.
what do you mean? You don't need to have a large.
You have a website, but you don't have a specific platform where you keep all of your recordings
Oh, I do.
and
I do.
okay,
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. So first of all, I have a not huge, but I have a large like email list that I keep
right.
to, and I do social media to
Mm-hmm.
keep growing my audience. But I'm on Go High Level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be on Squarespace, and I loved Squarespace, but the new Squarespace model did not allow me to do the campaigns and everything in the way that I like. So my
Mm-hmm.
assistant recommended we do Go High Level, which is lovely because for Go High Level, I have my online site where I sell my artwork, and I continue to post art.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have my landing pages are actually right there, shown or not shown. I can have a link to them, or they can be right on my website.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has a very thorough capacity for workflows, uh,
Automated emails.
emails, follow through. And I even recently, because I wasn't getting the follow through after people would sign up, I just added SMS texting capacity,
Hmm.
and you can add that within Go High Level. So it's just like the slow reveal that the software has. And with my class, you get access to a dashboard, a
Mm-hmm.
membership dashboard where you can go on, you can rewatch the classes, you can watch the meditations, you can watch the art class, and I have a whole video tutorials of learn how to draw in 28 days. So people can access the classes between the sessions.
Okay. So is your email list and your website all Go High Level with all of the other areas of video recordings and email workflows and automations?
Yeah, I have everything, all my contacts are segmented. So I
Right.
have a general email list. So I try to be gentle with them and not overpower them with
Right.
follow throughs. This has been a big learning curve for me, So everyone that's interested from Facebook becomes my new launch list. They said, I'm interested in your workshop. The email list is an amalgam of people from my whole life, but all of my contacts sit and live in Go High Level.
Okay.
So I can specifically email people who attended, or specifically email people who attended my art show, and so that I try to respect people's privacy, and I don't want to over email if they're not interested. Does that
Right.
answer your question?
It does. I have not looked deeply into Go High Level, so now I'm really curious about that platform. Is there anything technical about the platform that has been difficult for you?
Yes. I think it's just a different language initially. Maybe people who are used to having workflow automations and how that works, and just getting to know, oh, that's the automation, or that's the site, or that's the marketing. I've had to take long, deep breaths and say, I believe as a business owner, we need to know. I know what I want, first level. I know that it can be done, second level. How to do it, I think, is ideal, knowing how to do it, because I used to know how to do it. But I've accepted that my assistant led the way on that one. I told her what I wanted. She created it. And now every week I say, can you please show me or give me a Loom video? Like one day I was in my workshop and she couldn't be there to run my workshop. So I had a different IT person, and I had to tell them the link is different. And all of a sudden I didn't know the contact. I didn't know how to access all my contacts. Luckily it was a small group, so I could manually find them and write to them. So every time I learned something, I said, oh, I need to know how to write an email to all my contacts without your assistance. So I've accepted that my learning is going to be little at a time. And I have to breathe deeply when I start to do that work, because I feel overwhelmed.
Right.
And I say, good for you. You're trying to learn something. Learn one thing from your assistant today.
And we do learn it. We do learn it.
What are you using, Lyric? I'm curious.
Because of my business at the Academy and what I do, I have a lot of different platforms.
Yes.
I've tested out, I've been on 3 or 4 different on-demand course platforms. I also have my 20-year-old business that has pieced together with all different kinds of things. So parts of my business are all over the place. This year I am experimenting with consolidating everything from my original lyric art business, where I just teach my stuff instead of teach other teachers, into the Zenler platform. Because it does all of those things as well. And I've been working with it for a couple of years, and we'll see how it goes. I have been using it for a lot of other things, and it does everything beautifully. But I am still, for both of my businesses, my community lives on the Mighty Networks platform.
Oh, yes, Mighty Network, right?
Yeah, it does community better than any other platform. Zenler has a new community feature, but it doesn't compare anywhere close yet. Maybe someday it will, and I can have everything all on one platform. Who knows?
That has more of a community thing. I don't use it a lot. I still use my Facebook community. But I felt like that's what I felt. I sounded like what you sounding like a little bit. I had,
all over the place.
For MailChimp, I had Squarespace, I had different, and I didn't like that feeling. And there was some woman called, I think, Calm Business. She's a German woman. And I remember watching her, and she said, what do you want your digital world to feel like? is, do you want them to feel welcoming into your home? And it really changed my perception. I'm like, I want one home, one place where I can
Hmm.
welcome people and serve them different pieces
Right.
of food. And so I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to
Yeah.
simplify because I
It does make a huge difference. I do not recommend having all these other platforms, but
it's a wild,
because I teach
right?
people other platforms, I experiment and play
Yeah.
with them and want to know a little bit about all of them. Well, Marianne, I greatly appreciate the time that you've spent with us
Thank
and your generosity with your information. And I think the things we've talked about have been deep and satisfying.
I
And
have
I
a
appreciate
question
that.
for you, Eric, before we close up. Do we have a
Sure.
second more? So I just really want to commend you, though, to acknowledge that the way you're having multiple avenues is a really cool creative thing. You think about some people like to try a little thread here, a little paint here, and then slowly but surely it comes together, sort of like a textile,
Hmm.
not all one.
Textile artist here. Yeah, I get it.
Right. So there might be something in the way you're talking. I feel like it's like try this, try that, and then watch it emerge and watch it come together. So I acknowledge that most of us, that's how we are, right? We there's disparate parts and we're trying to bring them to the center. But what is it, and forgive me if I put you on the spot, what is it that you have found from this conversation? I know that we're just talking on the fly, but what is it that you found the most interesting about our dialogue today?
I love how what you're talking about and this is the same conversation we have with almost all of the artists that are on here, right? All of the creatives. Um, it's something of the same journey, but the way you have phrased it and spoken about it, it comes from the center and from within your soul instead of coming from the outside and through. And both things are true, both things happen for all of us,
Right.
but you've just phrased it in a way that makes the inward outward
Yeah.
process really clear. So I really appreciate that.
And the line I'll leave you with, which is exactly what you said, is you don't have to be good at art because art is good for you.
I love
It's
it.
the process, not just the result. And so many people are looking at their life and their expectations on themselves and their art from the outside. And I'm saying, let's just make it. Let's just experiment. We don't have to be good in order for it to be good for us. So
Yeah.
you
Well, and that's the core of my message when I'm teaching art and design to other
really,
creatives. Yeah,
yeah,
it is. It's all let's do it badly. Let's
let's,
just play. Let's just learn
I
because that's
do.
how you get good.
Let's make ugly art is the
High
best.
five to you, my friend. Yes. So, one thing I love to ask, just throw out at the very end of every interview is can you describe the last thing you made to us just for fun? And I know we're talking to creatives and artists, but it doesn't have to be a painting. I mean, think broadly about.
My gosh, put me on the spot. Oh, the last thing I made was a party.
Ooh,
Yes, the last thing I made was a party for a bunch of neighbors that I don't know.
oh,
That
what
was
a
the
beautiful way to build community.
best. And it's creativity, it's connectivity. I had no idea their names. They've been living across the street for like 8 years, and I went door to door and said, "Come for cocktails. Let's get to know each other." And it opened up my spirit so much. They ended up staying for 2.5 hours. So that was sharing. My husband's like, "Are you sure?" The last time our neighbor did that 10 years ago, I'm like, she was a much different person than we are. Let's go for it. And
Right?
put out the flowers, cook some food, and invite new people. And I felt so exhilarated by opening the door like that. So
Right. So
that
you said you made a party, but what you actually made was community and connections, a connected community, right?
in an unknown way. That's the part I thought was most exhilarating. I had no idea who these people were. It's like a blank canvas.
Lovely.
Said it's time to paint on this canvas. Let's open the doors. And now I feel like I know. Now I feel like I have these threads to people, and there's such cool people living across the street from me.
And who knew? Why did we take so long to do it? All right, everybody, go knock on your neighbor's door and just
Exactly.
say hello. You don't have to throw a party if you don't
Right?
want to, but make connections.
Every aspect of our lives. We don't need
Right.
to hold it hostage just in our art form, because the more we live, the more it influences what we create physically.
Right. Thank you so much, Marianne. It's been a delight and a pleasure to speak with you. Where can people find you?
Certainly. So you have some of the links. I don't know if we can post
They
them.
will be in the show notes for sure.
Well, but the easiest way is my first initial and last name. So it's mgargour.com. And you can see my name in the screen. So
GARGOUR.com. Yeah, go look at what Marianne has to offer. We'll have lots of links in the show notes. And, say hello and look after her example.
Thank you, Lyric, for I felt so excited to be in community and communication with you today. I appreciate your time and your efforts.
Thank you. And we'll talk to each other again sometime, friend.
Yes, see you very soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. My favorite takeaway today is Marianne's reminder that you don't have to be good at art because art is good for you. Use the making to feel better, think clearer, and then build the offer that serves from that centered place. You can find Marianne's links in the show notes. And if this episode sparked ideas for your own teaching, come join us at the Academy for Virtual Teaching. We've got free seminars, tools, and a supportive community to help you grow a sustainable online teaching business with video. Keep showing up, keep experimenting, even if it's messy, and keep creating beautiful things for the people you love and serve. You've got this.